It agreed to listen to the oral arguments of the two defense attorneys and also to present in Arabic a written submission, and that the time for Mr. Clark is 5 minutes and for Mr. Naimi 16 minutes. So the translator that you brought with you, the Jordanian attorney, please come forward so that you swear in, be sworn in. I swear by God Almighty that I carry out and fulfill my duties with honesty and neutrality and independence, with respecting fully the confidentiality of my duties. So please come forward, Mr. Clark, for 5 minutes. You can talk and you can translate, so please stand by him. By the microphone, please.
May it please the court. 5 minutes is not very long for a slow talker, with translation taking half the time, but I'll do my best to make it clear.
حي المحكمة ويقول أن 5 دقائق غير كافية إطلاقا للإمام، لكن سيفعل ما يستطيع ليختصر.
First, we have made a written submission. It's the submission that I held in my hand and tried to proffer to the court earlier on the critical issue of protecting the defense counsel and other members of the defense camp, that no more lives will be lost.
لقد تقدمت بطلب خطبة للمحكمة وأظهرته للمحكمة في يدي وطالب في حماية المحامين ولضمان أمنهم.
We're living in Iraq, a country that I love, in a very dangerous time.
في وقت خطر للغاية.
There's a huge foreign military occupation, and even brother and brother Iraqi are killing each other.
يوجد احتلال أجنبي للعراق ويوجد تقاتل داخلي بين الإخوة.
And reconciliation is essential.
والتفاهم والتراضي هو شيء أساسي.
And this trial can either divide or heal.
هذه المحكمة لن تكون للتقسيم ولكن لإعادة الالتئام اللحمة العراقية.
And unless it is seen as absolutely fair, and is absolutely fair in fact, it will irreconcilably divide the people of Iraq.
فيما عدا ذلك وعندما تكون المحكمة عادلة عدالة تامة وغير منحازة، يجب تكون هذه المحاكمة خطوة إلى الأمام في الحفاظ على وحدة العراق.
An essential element of fairness
ومبدأ أساسي
خلي لا يخرج عن موضوع اللي هو أمن المحامين، أمنهم هم، لماذا يتطرق إلى أمور سياسية أخرى، فخلي يكون بالموضوع.
You and I have corresponded 3 or 4 times about the superiority of the lawyers. You know perfectly well that's what I'm talking about, and I was getting to that. The right to life of all parties, of the court, the prosecutor, the defendants, the defense witnesses, and the defendants' lawyers are equally precious and have to be protected. Today there is in place for the court, for the prosecution, for the prosecution witnesses, as far as we can tell, significant protection.
بالنسبة للادعاء نحن نعلم ولشهود الادعاء بأن هناك أوضاع أمنية مؤمنة لهم على مستوى أعلى من غيرهم.
There is virtually no protection for the 9 Iraqi lawyers and their families who are heroically here to try to defend truth and justice in Iraq.
عمليا لا يوجد أي نوع من الحماية للمحامين العراقيين التسعة الموجودين الذين مهددين في حياتهم وفي عائلاتهم.
Nearly 2 months after the brutal execution of one of their members in October,
بعد شهرين من اغتيال أحد زملائهم في شهر 10.
a hero to truth and justice,
كان يحارب من أجل العدالة
and the summary execution of a second lawyer.
وتم اغتيال محامٍ آخر بطريقة الإعدام السريع.
And all this time, these men and their families have been left essentially unprotected, and it's essential that they be protected now.
وتركوا من تاريخه حتى الآن بدون حماية لهم ولا عائلاتهم، ويجب أن يبدأ حمايتهم منذ الآن.
Without that protection, a fair trial is impossible.
بدون هذه الحماية الكافية للمحامين أن تكون هناك محكمة عادلة هو شيء مستحيل.
Not only are the lives of all these people at risk, the very function of the judiciary is at risk.
ليست حماية حياة هؤلاء المحامين هي التي في خطر. العمل القضائي يكون في خطر.
If every form of participation in the judicial process is not protected, the judicial system will fail and be destroyed.
إذا لم يتم الحفاظ على كافة أعضاء المحكمة وكافة المحامين وشهودهم وأشخاص القضاة لا يمكن لهذه المحكمة أن تستمر.
The protection that has been offered is absurd, absolutely absurd. First it was you can move.
وصلت الفكرة واستلمنا ردا واليوم بهذا الخصوص مطالعة وستجيب المحكمة عليها. فوصلت الفكرة وشكرا.
We'll receive a reply to the 7-page submission we made this afternoon after we were removed from the court.
هل استلمت سيادتكم؟
نعم استلمنا وستستلمون الرد تحريريا ووصلت الفكرة وانتهى الوقت المسموح لكم. شكرا. تفضل ارجع إلى مكانك.
Well, Your Honor, I have not been afforded a meaningful opportunity to present this matter, and I consider a denial of the right to effective assistance of counsel. You've given me practically no time, and you're going to, after all of our correspondence, you're going to rule on a motion you just got, a written motion just less than 2 hours ago?
هل هذا الرد هو الرد المناسب والكافي للأوراق التي قدمت؟
The defense cannot participate in this case until there is protection in place for these lawyers and their families. Thank you.
لا يمكن الاستمرار بهذه القضية إلا بحماية المحامين وعائلاتهم.
تفضل.
Please come forward.
Thank
you for the thanks to the court for allowing us to talk before you about the defenses that we will later present in writing also in the name of God. Reading from the Quran to start with. Your Honor, the Chief Justice, the defenses we're presenting are 3 defenses. The first is the invalidity, the illegitimacy of the court. The illegitimacy I will lay out very quickly, and the second defense is the jurisdiction, the lack of jurisdiction of the court, and the third is the lack of independence of the court. Those defenses are procedural, and I will try my best to use the 16 minutes to clarify my points. First, the illegitimacy of the court, the international law it's always based on the theory that the legal basis for any occupier in land, that anything that is out of occupation should have no legal legitimacy. As for historical perspective, the occupation came on March of 2003, the American forces and their coalition forces came. They did not rely or did not come out of any legal basis to enter this land, this honored land. The armed forces, the U.S. armed forces, were relying on a decision that came on 6/78 that allowed the formal entry of the armed forces. After the blockade and embargo and killing of 50 million children, Iraq was exhausted on all levels. The internal issues, the domestic issues in America allowed for the use of a pretext to enter in Iraq as if they're combating terrorism. Mr. Naimi, please stay in the legal points. Don't go to political issues. This is not a political court. According to Article 2 of the United Nations Charter would not allow for invading Iraq. To activate 678 using 1441 was not a valid point. Then Mr. Bremer was appointed, and he was the civil governor, and he was de facto ruler of all affairs of Iraq. In 2003, 25 people were appointed to the Transitional Governing Authority, and this was a decision by an occupier civil authority appointing such a governing authority. After that, the governing authority, governing council, Mr. Jalabi in 2003 asked his son Saddam Jalabi to formalize a law for this special court.